considered the world's first pyramid. It's a 6-tiered pyramid built very near the Giza Plateau. Egyptologists often assume that the older pyramids are less well created and smaller, such as Zoser's pyramid, and that ultimately they're building better and better until they finally built the Great Pyramid as their final construction masterpiece. But it may be completely reversed of that, and that the Great Pyramid, which is by far the best of all the pyramids, is actually the oldest of the pyramids. 2,500 BC, according to archaeology, humans made the Great Pyramid. Now, in old writings, especially in the book of Enoch, and in the so-called Pitta, which is a book from an Arabian writer, they say the Great Pyramid was constructed before the Great Flood. The Great Pyramid existed perhaps even for millennia before the Zoser Pyramid. Then the Egyptians come along, discover it, decide, hey, maybe we can make one of those too. And that's when they build the Zoser Pyramid.
Perhaps the most similar common motif or style is the pyramidal shape that seems to exist throughout the world. In Egypt, in Mesoamerica, in China, giant earthen mounds in the shape of pyramids. Why pyramids?
Is it possible that pyramids were built by cultures all around the world because they were trying to recreate much older structures that survived a great flood? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes. And some researchers have even suggested that those pyramids that were built by pre-flood civilizations represent a form of lost technology. In his 1998 book, The Giza Power Plant, noted machinist and engineer Christopher Dunn proposed that the shape, positions of chambers, and proximity to underground rivers indicate the Great Pyramids of Giza functioned as power plants. I personally think that the pyramids were some kind of energy generator. And here we have the strange idea that the ark itself wasn't a bow-type shaped thing, but it was actually a pyramid. So is it possible that whoever built the pyramids of Egypt was doing so to try to preserve their technology? For ancient astronaut theorists, the possibility that the Great Pyramid served a technological purpose presents an intriguing question. If a lost civilization was able to build massive power plants, with the assistance of extraterrestrials, could they also have had the means to escape a world-ending cataclysm by leaving the Earth? Mountain View, California, January 16th, 2018. Geneticist Eric Jarvis and data management company DNA Nexus announced plans to create a biological database of every vertebrate species on Earth. The development of this new genetic DNA database is essentially a modern-day version of Noah's Ark, where all of these animals, their DNA is selected and kept in these special databases. And in the future, we could resurrect any of these animals if we had to, if there had been some mass extinction on the planet. But many researchers are hopeful that by the time a global cataclysm strikes, humanity will have developed the means to transport this modern-day ark into space and seek out a new home planet. We don't have forever on this planet. Let's say our resources are running out. Let's say something else happens. Or let's even say we know we can calculate this that 252 years from now we will emit a giant collision with an asteroid. We better do something about that. So we better start working on that today. In 2018, a company named Axiom Space revealed plans to put a hotel in Earth's orbit. Meanwhile, NASA is preparing to send astronauts to Mars. Consider
deciding on their own to leave the planet. They call this ascension. In many of the flood myths, the common theme is that it had been prophesied and people knew it was coming. Maybe their answer was to migrate into space.
There are a number of craters on the moon that had what looked like pyramids right in the middle of the crater. Mars apparently has similar pyramid structures on it. Maybe they were created by this super civilization of the past, just like we're going to do in the near future.
Could it be that pyramids and other structures were built on the moon and Mars, not by beings who were coming to planet Earth, but by those who were fleeing it? Did Earth's refugees build these structures to sustain them while they sought out a new home? As far as ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, this notion presents another, perhaps even more profound, possibility.
With modern UFO activity, you have to ask yourself, are these UFOs from this ancient civilization that left